Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star episode number 437 based on novel. So let's start. Universe boat is a boat-shaped valuable of the machine type. That human figure might be a valuable of the machine type. Luophone was more excited than ever. After all, he felt fortunate just to be able to take a look at it. If, instead of a valuable, it's a great being. Luophone's excitement intensified as he considered that possibility. Incredible! Only the ancient civilization had great beings at that level. The thousands of great beings in Universe Ocean started to teleport at the same time. They flew to a point ahead of the human-shaped object but remained to the side, as they didn't dare to fly right in the middle of its path. The Universe Supreme Masters transmitted their voices again. Prepare! Hit it again! All the top great beings from Universe Ocean held their power, and soon, the giant beings showed up within their sights. Actually, it wasn't accurate to say that they showed up within their sights, as light speed in Universe Ocean was actually 100 times faster than light speed in the original universe. If they had merely used their eyes to see, it would have been impossible to see the human-shaped object clearly. Rather, Luophone and the others all used vibration waves to determine its shape and speed via their control over time and space. If they only used their eyes to see, by the time the light from the human-shaped object had reached their eyes, it would already have been gone. They had to use vibration waves to sense the state and position of the human shape, and they could only feel the waves when they were within close proximity. They could only sense the waves for an instant, after which the human-shaped object would fly past them, producing incredible shock waves. The shock wave was so strong that even Universe Supreme Masters would be severely injured if they got close. Attack! 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 Following the orders of Universe Supreme Masters, all the thousands of great beings, including Luophone, attacked from the side at the same time. All the attacks combined were enough to kill any Universe Supreme Master. The attacks flew 100 times faster than light speed. The combined attacks flew for a long time before they hit the giant object. The human-shaped object was 160 million light-years tall, and its feet were 30 million light-years long. Although its flying speed could hit 120 million times faster than light speed, it would take the feet around 3 months to completely change its position. Unfortunately, it moved too fast. Even though it was right beside him, Luophone couldn't see or sense it. Only when the group moved to the side of the front of the human-shaped object could he sense the shock waves for just an instant. In reality, the fact that they could sense a giant object flying 120 million times faster than light speed was worth celebrating. Teleportation. They all teleported at the same time. They teleported 1,000 light-years away, which was nothing compared to the length of the object's feet. Fortunately, it was 120 million times faster than light speed, less than 4 light-years per second. They could easily catch up with it by using teleportation, so they could accurately sense the position. Attack! All the thousands of top great beings in Universe Ocean tried together and thought of nothing else. They teleported and attacked again and again. Luophone and the other great beings stayed beside that giant human-shaped object for 3,200 years. Luophone flew out of Universe Boat immediately, so he was much slower. Before he arrived, the powers already decided that they needed to keep changing the direction of the human-shaped object and made it hit Universe Boat. Redirecting it to Universe Boat required the minimum amount of change out of all the 3 lands of extremis, yet it still required an angle of 15 degrees. All those great beings had struck the giant object for more than 3,000 years just to gain those 15 degrees. That was why first True Master and Demon Beast Ancestor chose to publicize the news, as the first 7 powers who found the human-shaped object couldn't do it at all, and before they could redirect it 15 degrees, it would have already flown away. The direction is correct. The direction is correct. The direction is correct. Universe Supreme Masters and Universe Masters could all tell the direction using the vibration waves. And then they used its relative position of Universe Boat to determine the location. Luophone checked also and nodded. It will arrive at Universe Boat in around 30,000 years. Ha ha ha. We're finally going to succeed after all this time. That giant object is definitely going to hit Universe Boat. The top-tier great beings in the space were all relieved. After all, they had been concentrating on this task for more than 3,000 years, and they had been attacking it all this time. Although they didn't attack it very often, they needed to recover their godly power. The pressure still tortured everyone's nerves. They only relaxed after they knew that they had succeeded. In the outer area of Universe Boat, one of the three lands of extremis. Thousands of great beings stood in the outer area, looking at Universe Boat in the distance. Can Universe Boat stop it? Universe Boat is tens of millions of light-years wide and tall, and over 100 million light-years long. It's barely the same size as that giant object. It is terrifically fast. Will Universe Boat be blasted away if it was hit? I hope it can stop the giant object. All those thousands of great beings arrived in advance, waiting for the giant object to hit Universe Boat. However, they were all worried that even if Universe Boat could slow that object down, it wouldn't change much if the giant object only slowed down a little bit instead of stopping. From 120 million times faster than light speed to 30 million times faster than light speed, it was no different from those powers. I hope we can succeed. If we fail, we have to change its direction again. We have to succeed. Everyone was looking forward to it. Luo Feng was in the strike force of the Hong Alliance. He looked at Universe Boat in the distance. It was a giant machine boat that was already wrecked. It kept absorbing the endless chaos air around it, and there were circles of flames around the damaged boat, permeating incredible power. Wind whirlpools and endless electric snakes. There was even 1/3 of a miniature universe under Universe Boat. Though Universe Boat is already damaged, it's still swallowing the energies from the outside, even some damaged miniature universes, Luo Feng thought. Apparently, some important parts in Universe Boat are still operating. As a machine-type valuable that's constantly operating, it's very stable. Even though it's hit, it can resist it. Although Luo Feng thought this way, the human-shaped object was too large and fast. Time passed. All the thousands of top-tier beings in Universe Ocean were waiting. It's coming. It's coming. The giant object is coming. They sensed the vibration waves and were excited. Luo Feng, Primal Chaos City leader, and the other great beings from the Hong Alliance were excited as well. They all stayed as far away as possible and hid themselves. They didn't want to be killed by the horrifying shock wave. Although we can sense the shock wave, it might take a few years before that giant object hits Universe Boat. The strike team from the Hong Alliance was in Boat of Mausoleum, and they were all looking forward to it. A period of several years was nothing to supreme beings. The human-shaped object was too fast for them to see it, and if they missed the area where vibration waves spread, they couldn't sense it. They could only wait until the impact, when the vibration waves would spread everywhere. Then they would be able to sense them. Palace True Treasures floated. Supreme True Treasures, Pinnacle True Treasures, and Boat of Mausoleum. They were all waiting for it. Everyone was silent. There were no great beings in Universe Boat. After a long time, invisible vibration waves were transmitted in all directions, following the time and space. Those great beings who were hiding in the distance all felt the horrifying vibrations, followed by destructive shock waves. Endless chaos air was torn. All the great beings felt the waves at the same time and immediately reversed time and tried to watch the scene. A giant, human-shaped object was flying fast. A gigantic, damaged spaceship didn't move at all. The human-shaped object collided with Universe Boat. Some of the fragments around the spaceship were blasted away. The fire, the electric snakes, and the light around the spaceship were also annihilated. Then the human-shaped object struck the ancient spaceship. Its upper half hit the ancient spaceship head first. The instant the two objects collided, the space and time around them were crushed, exerting horrifying shock waves and vibration waves. The weakest vibration waves at the periphery were transmitted first, followed by the destructive shock waves. The central area of the crash was like a nightmare. The collision was so powerful that even Universe Supreme Masters or Supreme True Treasures would have been annihilated. The shock wave spread everywhere, 10,000 light years, a million light years, 10 million light years. The longer it traveled, the weaker it became. When it spread to the great beings several hundred million light years away, the great beings in the Palace True Treasures couldn't be harmed anymore. However, the Palace True Treasures, including Supreme True Treasures, were still blasted away. Inside the Boat of Mausoleum, Luo Feng, Primal Chaos City leader, and Deserted Mirror Master all stood as they looked out at the numerous Palace True Treasures rolling and tumbling away. "We are 500 million light years away from the Universe Boat," said Deserted Mirror Master. The ripples produced by the impact when the humanoid life form and Universe Boat crashed into one another are being transmitted in all directions. The power is weakening as the ripples travel, but when it reached us, it was still so terrifyingly strong. How terrifying is that? At least for our universe ocean, no one would be able to survive in the core area of that impact, Primal Chaos City leader said in a low voice. Luo Feng also nodded. Even the boat of Mausoleum couldn't claim to be able to resist an attack of this intensity. After all, the boat of Mausoleum had merely undergone Du and Dong River's remodeling. In terms of strength, it would likely be similar to a supreme true treasure. In terms of identity, it merely took on an additional role to be within the school of automaton. I'm not certain whether it will stop it or not, Luo Feng whispered. Let's hope it will. Primal Chaos City leader was also keeping a close watch on the situation outside. Deserted Mirror Master was very disturbed, too. If it doesn't stop, we're in trouble. At that moment, it was not just the Hong Alliance but also various groups of top powers within Universe Ocean, including the two Holy Lands, who were worried. That humanoid life form was comparable to Universe Boat in size, so if both were to collide, it was difficult to tell whether it could be stopped. The head of the humanoid life form crashed viciously into the Universe Boat at 120 million times light speed. The ancient, damaged ship was sent tumbling and flying through the air due to the great impact. In that endless era, this boat had once been severely damaged, so on its body were many cracks and crevices. Yet despite the cracks, great beings from the Universe Ocean were still unable to hurt even the damaged parts. However, this crash caused some fragments left on the surface of the tumbling Universe Boat, originally marked only by a certain degree of damage, to detach and fly off in all directions. Even the internal space of the Universe Boat trembled beneath the impact. Of course, for an ancient ship like the Universe Boat, its overall structure was unharmed. There was not the slightest dent made to its gigantic shipboards. Apparently, Universe Boat was also an automaton true treasure that was extremely sturdy. One crash could only cause fragments to fall off due to impact. Causing any true harm to it was simply impossible. The deep, internal region of this ancient boat was in continuous operation. Even as it was sent tumbling by the impact, its internal region continued to operate. For an endless time, it had been swallowing so much chaotic airflow that all of that accumulated to become a powerful energy which was the source of stability of this boat. Even when there was rapid deceleration, the boat was still stable. After the first wave of impact, the humanoid life form's speed was greatly reduced. After waiting for the Universe Boat to reduce its speed, the humanoid life form dealt the Universe Boat with another impact. It was another earth-shattering impact this time around. However, the power was obviously weakened to a great extent. This time, it was the waist portion of the inclined body of the humanoid life form that struck the ancient ship. The two objects seemed to form a cross, but this time, the impact did not send the Universe Boat tumbling away, the ship merely flew out of the way. As for the humanoid figure, perhaps because its inclined position weighed it down, it tumbled over and flew off in the other direction. Two impacts, one after another. From the first impact, the direction of the humanoid life form did not change much, but its speed had been sharply reduced, to less than 20 million times the speed of light. From the second impact, its direction changed drastically, and its speed was further reduced to only 300,000 times the speed of light. The humanoid life form was tumbling at a speed that exceeded 300,000 times the speed of light. In the process of tumbling, it faced an obstructing force from the chaotic airflow, which caused its speed to be greatly reduced. Then, gradually, it ceased tumbling and went back to its initial pose of lying flat on the ground. It has stopped. The Universe Boat has stopped. It is no longer moving. Thousands of great beings in all of Universe Ocean gathered around the Universe Boat. As they looked at its surface, they realized that although the vines, frost, and organisms initially found on the surface of the Universe Boat had been annihilated, the original outer wall color of the Universe Boat was revealed. Luo Feng and the others were amazed by what they saw. Such an impact, yet there isn't a single dent to be found on the surface of the Universe Boat. Primal Chaos City marveled. The Universe Boat has been around the Universe Ocean for so many reincarnation eras since it first appeared and is already so damaged. Yet it was able to take such a terrifying impact. All those injuries that caused it to be so damaged, what could have caused those? I really cannot imagine. Universe Ocean is indeed mysterious beyond words. It holds so many secrets that seem so improbable, like the human-shaped life form that just appeared out of nowhere. Before it appeared, would any one of us have suspected its existence? Luo Feng and the surrounding great beings from the Hong Alliance all nodded. Let's go. We shall go after that human-shaped life form, Primal Chaos City leader said. Yes, the human figure and Universe Boat have collided twice, said Luo Feng. With its speed greatly reduced, getting it to stop is no longer that difficult. The resistance from the chaotic airflow alone will cause it to continue weakening. Luo Feng looked forward to the outcome. The strike force from the Hong Alliance that was inside the boat of Mausoleum started to teleport as a group as they gave chase. The direction the human-shaped life form was heading was easily deduced. Various groups of top powers within Universe Ocean were all going after it, and they caught up easily. Ha ha! It is slowing down by a lot. And it is continuing to reduce its speed. This is getting so much easier. At one point, great beings from the various groups of top powers within Universe Ocean were surrounding the human-shaped object, at times teleporting and at times exploring. At merely 300,000 times the speed of light, it did not constitute a major threat, and the impact of its attack was much weaker. After all, if there was an outburst from a Universe Supreme Master, his speed could go up to 100,000 times or even 1,000,000 times the speed of light. Universe Ocean was filled with endless chaotic airflow with an extremely strong resistive force. The ordinary beings who were much weaker would immediately be annihilated in this chaotic airflow, which was why energy had to always be maintained when flying within Universe Ocean. Previously, the humanoid life form had been so fast that the force of its impact was far too strong. Even at that speed, it was able to form an area that was similar to an absolute domain. All around it, everything was shattered, time and space were in shards. The chaotic airflow was in pieces, and nothing was able to get near to it at all. With it traveling at such a speed, the chaotic airflow was so fast that the naked eye would not have even seen it in the form of dust. Yet at this very moment it started to slow down, as it was no longer able to go further to reach the level of an absolute domain. The resistive force of the chaotic airflow was constantly exerting its influence over the massive, human-shaped life form to reduce its speed. The slower it moved, the faster it descended. To reduce its speed from more than 300,000 times the speed of light to just 200,000 times the speed of light, it took approximately 3 days' time. But after just 3 more days, there was a sharp decrease to not even 10,000 times the speed of light. Primal Universe, Ancestral God School, Ancestral God Palace. Intangible willpower fell upon Ancestral God Palace. 3 figures were seated on the thrones. They were the 3 great ancestral gods from the first reincarnation era. Currently, they all wore solemn expressions. With their eyes shut, all of them seemed extremely holy and pure, and they were exuding bouts of a strong yet strange power. My children. It is coming. Crisis. Must. The 4th most dangerous land. The ancient willpower was transmitting numerous bits of information being sent to the 3 ancestral gods. After some time, the strong, intangible willpower finally retreated. The 3 ancestral gods opened their eyes and looked at one another, shocked. Since the day we became ancestral gods, we have not taken a single step out of Universe Ocean, the ancestral god in the middle said in his old voice. This time, by the orders of the willpower of the primal universe origin, we can finally leave the primal universe. Let's go. If we arrive too late, I'm afraid that the various groups of top powers of Universe Ocean will suffer a great loss. So, what if there is a great loss? Even if they are all annihilated, does it matter to us? We should just go at our own pace and do what we are supposed to do. That should be fine. Let's go. The 3 ancestral gods transformed into dazzling rays of light and speedily left the ancestral god palace. Then they vanished from within the ancestral god's secret region. In the vast Universe Ocean, under the obstructions posed by the endless chaotic airflow, the impact of the energy that resulted from the flying of the human-shaped life form was continuously weakening, and its speed was rapidly decreasing. Thus, the various groups of top powers of Universe Ocean were getting less and less afraid of it. Charge! Charge! Various groups of top powers, on board their palace true treasures, charged straight toward the human-shaped life form. Luo Feng, we will join in, too, Primal Chaos City leader decided as he looked out and saw the palace true treasures flying past. All right. Luo Feng immediately took control of his boat of Mausoleum and headed straight for the human-shaped life form. At high speed, the boat of Mausoleum advanced. Very soon, it arrived at its destination and started to descend on the expanse of the human-shaped figure's body. Shortly after, a loud bang sounded. The boat of Mausoleum had made its landing on the body of the humanoid life form. Standing, it would have been a towering 160 million light-years, so even if the boat of Mausoleum had landed on it in its entirety, it still was like an ant floating in the vast ocean. We have landed, Luo Feng said. But now, it is moving too quickly. Everyone, please do not rush to exit yet. Understood. Understood. Various great beings from the Hong Alliance were very excited because the boat of Mausoleum had landed on the body of the humanoid life form to get a good look at what was on its surface. Look, there is a rolling mountain range on the surface of this humanoid life form. At first glance, there seems to be no end to it. That is not a mountain range, Primal Chaos City leader said. Based on the deductions from the vibrating ripples, it must be the shape of the entire humanoid life form. What might seem like a rolling mountain range to us now is actually the texture of the subtle wrinkles of the clothing worn by this humanoid life form. There was a moment of surprise. Then everyone started to burst out laughing, especially those universe masters who had initially thought the wrinkles were part of a rolling mountain range, laughing at their own silly thoughts. Even for Luo Feng, by examining the vibrating ripples that were transmitted over, trying to deduce the shape of the human-shaped life form, it was only possible to conjure a rough image. To deduce that those were the clothes of the life form was a great challenge. Yet a Universe Supreme Master like Primal Chaos City leader was able to deduce the silhouette of its armor. Let's take a good look first. Milky Way Horde leader, drive and park your boat of Mausoleum on the surface of this human life form and advance. Let's go. Everyone was rushing him. All right, Luo Feng said. He was also filled with curiosity. So, without further ado, he drove the boat of Mausoleum to the human-shaped life form and latched it onto the surface of it as it advanced forward. Because the boat of Mausoleum was on its surface, even if the human figure was moving extremely fast, the surface was still relatively stable. Luo Feng, the other parts of this human-shaped life form must all be shut, just like the outer walls of the cabin area, Primal Chaos City leader said. Go to where its head is. Where its head is, there should be a passageway in. The head of the giant object was enormous, and there were true treasure palaces on top of it. Almost 90% of the great beings in Universe Ocean were around the head. It's enormous. This must be the mouth of that human-shaped object. Boat of Mausoleum landed. Luo Feng, Primal Chaos City leader, and the other great beings from the Hong Alliance were all looking into the distance, amazed. There was a vast abyss in front of them, and judging by the outer shape of the giant object, it had its mouth closed, yet the abyss was only a crack between its lips. That abyss was 1.9 million light-years long, and it was 120,000 light-years at its widest. Even Luo Feng's domain true treasures could only inspect a small part of it. 10 Milky Way galaxies could have filled this crack. Streaks of light appeared above the abyss and shot out. Quick, quick! If there are valuables in this giant object, those who find them first can get them. Quick! All the powers were nervous. Although they were frightened and intimidated by the giant object, they were still keen to find out more about it, which was why they immediately sent Universe Masters with multiple bodies to check. Let's go, Luo Feng. Chaos! The great beings in the Hong Alliance were nervous as well. The valuables were on a first-come first-served base, and everyone knew it. They were nervous upon seeing all the other powers sending great beings. Primal Chaos City leader looked around and said, "We know nothing about this giant object. We don't know how dangerous it is inside. Even Universe Supreme Masters can't guarantee they can survive it. We'll send Universe Masters with multiple bodies in first. Then, even if they die, they will only lose a body and some true treasures. The main entryways of that giant head are the ears, the nostrils, and the crack between the lips. We might enter separately through different portals." Nobody knew which entryway led to the valuables, which was why they would need to try all of them. Okay. I'll go. I'll go, too. Great beings were very efficient and they transmitted their voices using their godly power. Immediately, 8 Universe Masters decided to send bodies in, including Luo Feng. Primal Chaos City leader said, "Everyone who's going in, be careful. Also, when you enter, please record your route. Then other great beings from the Hong Alliance can learn from it. Now, everyone, off you go. Let's go." Go? The gate of boat of Mausoleum opened. Sue! 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 Streaks of light flew out swiftly, including a black, oval-shaped palace. Other great beings from the Hong Alliance were all looking at the great beings of their team, including Primal Chaos City leader. They all wished that they could get the huge chance contained in that giant object. Inside the black, oval-shaped palace, Luo Feng stood looking at the outside. He was wearing black armor and carrying a blade. A blurry black light permeated the oval-shaped palace, centered on him. It covered an area of several square light-years. This was Luo Feng's Mosha body. Inspection, he muttered. Luo Feng was full of expectation. Actually, he only carried his golden horned beast body and the Earthling original body while journeying in Universe Ocean. However, for the present purpose of inspection, he had immediately sent his Mosha body, which had been in the original universe, back to remote ocean and killed it. The true treasures carried by his Mosha body had been kept by endless remote ocean. Then Luo Feng immediately had spared some godly power from his golden horned beast body and condensed a new Mosha body. Mosha body had a life gene level of 5,000 times, and it was 10,000 kilometers tall. Its godly power wasn't even 1/1000th that of his golden horned beast body, so it was okay for the golden horned beast to spare that much. As for the valuables that Mosha body was carrying now, they had been obtained over the course of the past 8 million years. Luo Feng had kept some true treasures he had obtained from Jie Fanzi after donating most of them to his race. He had also journeyed throughout Universe Ocean in Boat of Mausoleum, so he had obtained quite a few true treasures, meaning it had been easy for him to get a set of true treasures. The armor and the blade Mosha body was carrying were both pinnacle true treasures, but they were only ordinary pinnacle true treasures. As for pinnacle palace type and domain type true treasures, they were much more precious. It's done. Let's see what's inside that giant object. Mosha Luo Feng drove the black, oval-shaped palace, performing short-distance teleportation time and time again. Each time, he only teleported within the domain range. He also documented his route while he was moving forward. In Universe Ocean, 3 beings walked out of the wormhole shoulder to shoulder. Based on 9 remoteness, the powers from Universe Ocean can't wait anymore, so they sent some great beings in. Regardless, they were careful enough to only send those with bodies. At least most of them did that. They'll soon realize how terrifying that 4th land of extremis is. Not our business. We'll just move at normal speed. As for the death toll, it's their luck. Tell 9 remoteness and the others. Other than those like 9 remoteness who are not afraid of death, others can't go in. Although we know about this 4th land of extremis, we can't spill the secret. The 3 ancestral gods went because they received an order from the original mind. They knew about the secret, yet they didn't dare to leak it to their great beings. As ancestral gods, they benefited greatly, yet there were still many rules that they needed to follow. The giant object kept slowing down under the chaos air. Eventually, Hong. Long. It completely stopped. The human-shaped object has fully stopped. That armor. Is it decorative? Or is it a valuable like the armors we're wearing? Let's see whether we can make it recognize us as owners. The great beings who remained outside had many thoughts. They believed that powerful valuables would recognize masters, so they all endeavored to give it a go. However, before the great beings landed, there were already those who had tried. They had all failed. That giant armor was like a decoration. It was not subject to master recognition, and no matter how it was attacked, it wasn't damaged even in the slightest. Luo Feng entered via the crack between the lips. He was driving a true treasure palace and teleporting at a short distance. He was very fast, and soon enough, he had already traveled 10 million light years forward. That giant object had already stopped. An endless abyss. Inside the palace, Mosha Luo Feng looked down, and he couldn't see the bottom. He looked to his side, but he couldn't see the end, either. It appeared endless. He could only see the exit dimming at the front, and using his domain-type true treasure, he could tell that there wasn't any route at the front. He had to go down. Go down. The black, oval-shaped palace immediately dove down, and it started to teleport at a high frequency again. Huh? There's a huge area that my domain true treasure can't detect, Mosha Luo Feng said. He overjoyed. Ever since he started detecting, he hadn't been able to find anything out of the ordinary. In dangerous places in Universe Boat and Tilted Peak sector, domain true treasures couldn't detect them. He had been in this giant object for a long time, and this was the first time his domain true treasure wasn't able to detect something. I'll go and see. He drove the black oval palace and got closer. After half an hour, Mosha Luo Feng looked to the front in the palace. That is. An endless whirlpool appeared in his sight. The whirlpool twisted the space, spreading outward. A natural wormhole? Mosha Luo Feng could immediately tell that it was a natural wormhole. That wormhole is too large and too powerful, he said. Only universe masters and those stronger could get through such twisted energies. I haven't seen a natural wormhole this big in Universe Ocean or in the original universe. Mosha Luo Feng was thrilled. Apparently, the natural wormhole led to another area. Go deeper. Moshe Luophone drove the True Treasure Palace, dodged the natural wormhole, and kept diving. All great beings who inspected dangerous places knew that there were two ways to move forward in dangerous areas: teleportation and flying. Teleportation could take them to areas that could be inspected, and great beings only did that when they could make sure the area was safe. Flying was far less risky. At least great beings wouldn't fall into dangerous places without a fight. As for natural wormholes, nobody knew what was on the other side. Wormholes in Universe Ocean and the original universe were okay. As for those in Universe Boat, Tilted Peak Sector, Flowing Level Mountain, and this giant object, nobody would enter. Move forward. The abyss seemed to have no end, but it appeared safe. Moshe Luophone drove the True Treasure Palace and kept moving forward, teleporting. There's no end, no end. I've been here for 15 days. On the 15th day, Moshe Luophone lost his patience a bit. After all, there were lots of dangerous areas in the other three lands of extremis, yet there seemed to be nothing but an endless abyss in this giant object with nothing in it, and teleportation was allowed everywhere. A freezing breeze suddenly blew by. Even though Luophone's domain True Treasure covered an area of several square light years, it couldn't detect the breeze. It was completely silent. It blew through the black, oval-shaped True Treasure Palace, which was suddenly like dust, crumbling and separating, spreading across the ground and disintegrating into nothing. As for Moshe Luophone inside the oval palace True Treasure, he only felt cold before his godly power was completely frozen. The blade, the armor, and Moshe Luophone himself all turned into dust, spreading and disintegrating into nothing. In the endless abyss, there still seemed to be no danger. It was tranquil, and teleportation was still possible everywhere. But Moshe Luophone and the True Treasure Palace he drove had all turned to nothing. It was as if they had never been here. This video will end here.